Welcome to the Helms live stream on how to make the right coaching investment for yourself for 2025. We are so thrilled to have you all here with us today. The Helm, our mission is to reimagine real estate coaching one woman at a time. And we know that while coaching options seem to be increasing by the day, it's becoming even harder to find the right fit. And even harder to find the right fit with a seasoned female coach. In fact, one of the reasons we started the Helm was because over 2/3 of the real estate industry is women, real estate agents, but less than 1/3 of nationally recognized coaches are women. So we know how hard it can be to find the right match. And so we want to make sure not only that more successful real estate women are getting into coaching, but also making it easier for folks like you to find the right coach among those amazing women. So today we're covering a topic very timely. Everyone in real estate is making decisions on their coaching investments for the year, but we're hearing time and again from folks that there's just a lot of uncertainty and confusion around how to even start that process and if they even should. So we have pulled together our incredible, amazing founding coaches here with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about that process. These women are the epitome of what I consider to be the future of real estate coaching. These women have all been there, done it themselves, all with more than 10 years of success in the industry, and honestly are just deeply committed to helping other women through their coaching work. So we're so excited to have everyone with us today. First up, I would love to introduce Candy Miles Crocker. She is the author of The Reality of Real Estate, The Essential Guide to Planning, Managing, and Growing a Real Estate Business. And it really is about a practical guide to the realities of the industry. She was also named one of the top 25 real estate coaches by Inman News for multiple years. She lives in DC, where she holds her real estate license, also in Maryland and Virginia and California. And she trains agents nationally through her company, Real Life Real Estate Training, focused on business growth and client satisfaction. Hi, Candy. We're so glad you're here.
Happy to be here, Danielle.
Thanks for being here with us. All right, next, Lacey. Lacey is a luxury listing agent and leader of the Herd Newman team at Compass, ranked in the top 1% nationwide. As the host of the Emmy-nominated, Telly Award-winning The American Dream, Lacey's nearly 2 decades of real estate experience really uniquely position her to coach agents on scaling their businesses. Through her coaching program, The Elevated Agents, she combines both proven business strategies with mindset support, focusing on confidence on camera, creating consistent content, and building systems that support personal and professional alignment. A single mom turned powerhouse, Lacey is passionate about helping agents achieve financial success, business growth, and most importantly, personal peace. Welcome, Lacey.
Thanks, Danielle.
Next up is Kelly Parker. She has over 15 years of experience in residential real estate. She founded Home Collective, which is an all-woman team in Chicago that also ranks among the top 1% of realtors nationwide. Her journey began during the 2009 housing crash, where she turned market challenges into opportunities, quickly rising to a top producer status, and has since helped more than 500 clients find their dream homes. And in 2021, she founded Aligned Ambition, a coaching haven tailored for ambitious women in real estate. Her focus is on a holistic approach. She uses an aligned success methodology combined with essential skills, systems, and strategies for a thriving business, while making sure that each of her clients is aligned to their unique strengths. She uses human design and authentic self. By overlaying actions and authenticity, Kelly empowers women to build abundant, sustainable success that truly honors who they are. A transformative coach and approach often overlooked in traditional real estate coaching. Kelly's also a wife and a mom and a sister to many, proudly calling Chicago her home. So last but most definitely not least, we have Elizabeth. She is an entrepreneur, a Navy wife, and real estate expert committed to empowering women. She founded Elizabeth Convery LLC and launched the Confident Agent Program, which helps women advance their careers and build six-figure businesses. Previously, she founded Very Real Estate, a boutique firm that partnered with Compass and became a top-ranked team nationwide. And she focuses in her coaching business on guiding women to transform their mindsets and grow their incomes. She has degrees from Cornell and St. Joseph's University, and she lives also in DC with her husband, Chip, and their amazing 2 children who we all love. So Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. As you can tell, this is a very esteemed group. These are women who have been there, done that in their real estate businesses, as well as provide incredible coaching and support for women. We are going to have them take us through this journey today as we talk about how someone would navigate deciding whether they need a coach, how to find a coach, how to make a decision on which coach, and then what to bring to that coaching journey to make sure they're getting the most out of it. So today, we're going to start with how we know it's time for a coach. I mean, everyone says I need one, but like I really know I need one. And so I'm going to start with this question. What are the top 3 reasons people seek out your coaching in particular? So I want to hear from your experience. Why are people calling you? Why are they looking for coaches? And Elizabeth, I'd love to start with you.
Sure. So I particularly work with women who are in the early stage of their career, sort of under 5 years in the business. And they're calling me because they love being realtors. They love the ability to control their schedule, but they're having a hard time getting traction and making consistent money in the business. So the first reason for finding a coach is that they want to do more, right? They want to do more and they need help to figure out what more looks like and how to build that path. Second is they're feeling down about themselves. These are women, the women in my program are usually women who have come from a corporate role where they were in perhaps a management level, making 6-figure income, left for flexibility of schedule. But because they're not achieving that, they're feeling less than. And so they're looking to come back into their confidence. And then the third reason is that they need community. This is a business that is very lonely at times, especially post-COVID, right? We're all in our home offices most of the day. We go out on appointments, we see people, but then we come home. And so they're looking for more.
Those are great. That sounds similar to I think what other people have heard. How about you, Kelly? What are the top 3 reasons people have sought you out for coaching?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons I would say is first, I do coach women at all different stages of their career, but one thing in common is that they have really ambitious goals. And they're really driven to see these goals become a reality, to see the things that they desire, to actually be living it and know that it's possible for them. What I know is a theme, whether that is, you've been in this for a few years and you're looking to go to the next level, or you have built a really successful business and you're looking to build a team to help support you, or you're ready to have a baby and you want to be able to do both at the same time. They're on this sort of precipice of what's next for them and what's possible for them, but they don't know how to get there. Yep. And they're looking for the how-to, but really with that comes the clarity of the path that they can walk to really achieve the things that they know is possible for them. And so I would say they come, looking for the how-to and the clarity, but also have a knowing that the way that they've been maybe coached in the past or what they've heard the ways to accomplish these things don't necessarily feel right for them. And they understand that there might be a different way and there may be a better way and a way that feels really aligned for who they are and what they want to achieve. And so those tend to be the 3 sort of themes around the women who come into my space.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I think you're seeing a lot of nods from everybody on this call because especially your note around doing it a little bit differently, I think really resonates. I think there's a lot of women who have maybe even tried it and were discouraged, or we're just like, it's just not for me. This doesn't feel right. The systems that are out there and the people that are out there that we know those names today sometimes aren't a fit. So I really like that. I think that's an excellent point. Okay, lastly, I really want to know how you came to the conclusion that you needed your first coach. Like, how did you know? Because it's a scary thing. I got to invest some money here. I got to invest time. It feels like a big, scary decision, almost like in real estate when you decide to hire your first assistant or something. It's like that's a big cash investment and it can feel scary. So how did you decide, Lacey, you needed your first coach? And tell us a little bit about what you got out of that experience.
Sure. So the word that comes to mind when I think about where I was in that place, which is so similar to what I hear from so many people that I'm working with today, the word is stuck. And, I had been in real estate for many, many years. This is my 8th year in the business. So I'd already been in for 10 plus years by the time I started getting any coaching myself, but I knew I was a great agent. That was not ever in question. I didn't need help knowing how to sell real estate, but I just felt like I felt stuck. I felt like there was more for me, but I couldn't figure out how to get out of the place where I was and get into a completely different place that I was imagining. And so that was how I made that decision for myself. But, the first coaching experience that I had, which is why I think that the helm is so important, was not a great fit for me. It was I want you to track how many people you talk to this week and how many appointments you go on, and then how many listings you converted based on. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Thank you. That's not what I'm here for. And so I think that it taught me a ton, but it taught me a ton of what I didn't want, which was really important in helping, like with everything else in life. Sometimes you got to figure out what you don't want before you figure out what you do want.
That is so interesting. So I just want to follow up on that for a second. What about that wasn't a fit for you? Like, what didn't feel right to you?
Because it was a one size fits all. And my philosophy is that we will be our most productive when we are happiest. And we are happiest when we are doing things that are in alignment with our strengths and values. There are a lot of things that I could be doing in real estate that if I did them, I would have more business than I have today. But the reality is, if I were going to do it, I would have done it by now. So, looking around and looking at other people and saying, well, this is how they found success, or this is how they found success. And then putting that on yourself and saying, I should be doing that too, is such a roadblock for so many of us.
Yep.
And so figuring out, there's a million things you could do to be successful in this business, but the secret is figuring out what you actually want to do that's in alignment with you and your strengths and values, and then going and doing that, letting yourself off the hook for all the other stuff.
That's a great perspective. Okay, Candy, you in your current role literally talk to dozens of agents a week. Dozens. Maybe more, maybe 100. I would love to know from you, when they're coming to you, looking for support or help, either in your coaching business or in your day-to-day role, what are the top 2 needs that you see come up the most that could benefit from coaching?
I believe the number one thing I come across is confidence. They lack the confidence in their ability, and they don't see themselves as a salesperson per se. And they're so concerned with, what if the client asks this? What if they ask this? And I don't know the answer, right? So they just, instead of asking the question, instead of putting themselves out there, they just hold back and say, I'm not going to put myself out there because they might ask me something I don't know, right? And everybody's been in that position. It's easy to say, let me get clarification for you. I don't want to give you the wrong answer, but that's not where they are. And so they lack the confidence. The other piece is, and much like Lacey, they hear the conventional ways and they're like, I don't want to do it that way. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't feel authentic to me. And so they're looking for an alternative way to work in real estate. And I know when I first got into real estate, it was told that you're working 7 days a week, you're working every weekend, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And so they're looking for a way to work the way they want to work and still get the results that they want to get. And I help them discover what that looks like and how they can actually get what they want and not work 7 days a week.
Wow. Got it. So people are looking for new ways to approach their business, and people are looking for support around confidence. Those are 2 things that indicate to you maybe it's time for some coaching support.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And it's funny that I do get, dozens of agents come to me, but the majority are women.
Why do you think that is?
I think that women are more vulnerable and they're willing to ask for help and willing to talk about what they don't know and what they need help on, where in our society, men are raised to have it all figured out or to think they have it all figured out. And as we know, in reality, they don't, because if women ran the world, we'd just be in a much better place. But that's not where our society is. And so I think women are more accustomed to asking for help and saying, I don't know something, can you help me? And it's much more comfortable to ask another woman, how did you get through here? How did you navigate this space?
That's great insight. Okay, so we've helped folks think about, how do I know I need a coach? Now I'm like, okay, great, I'm in. I know I need a coach, but by gosh, finding the right person is like a needle in a haystack. So these next set of questions are a little bit about I'm out looking. What are the like top three things someone should consider when hiring a coach? Elizabeth, I want to start with you. So I know I need a coach. I'm out looking. I've maybe developed a short list. What are the things I need to think about?
I've had many coaches in my career. I've had coaches who were focused on business, focused on group coaching for entrepreneurs, real estate. So I think it's important that in all of those interviews of those coaches, I wanted to find somebody who had done the thing that I was looking to do, whether it was building a book of business, expanding my team. I'm also a team lead, hiring somebody to help there. So the first thing that I think is really important is seeking out experience of the coach that is aligned with where you want to go so that there's a path that you might be able to follow or at least ask questions. The second thing that I think is really important is the feeling of safety and the ability to be vulnerable with this coach, because a really good coach is going to pull things out of you that you maybe didn't even know you had inside. And in order for that to be an effective tool, you have to be in a position where you feel comfortable with that coach. And the way to find that out is to interview them, to speak with them, to really understand. And I think the third thing that I will say in finding a coach is to ask questions of the people that you know that have coaches. I mean, one of the best coaches I ever had, I still have her. She's actually my current coach. I got her as referred to me from someone who I really respect in the business. And I went to this person and I said, "Who is coaching you?" So I think it's a little bit of diligence, that will help you to find someone to talk to gather the rest of the information.
Great. Those are really good notes. Lisa, I had the same question for you. What are the top three things someone should consider when they're hiring a coach?
So the first thing that comes to mind is outcome. What exactly are you going for here? Because there are plenty of reasons that you might want to hire a coach. It could be accountability, it could be community, it could be that safe space to be vulnerable. So what exactly is the format itself, and what is the outcome that you can expect to get from the experience? Mm-hmm. I think that taking into consideration the time aspect of it. Is it something that is going to fit well into the schedule that you have? Is it a self-paced component? Is it a live component? Is it a mixture of the two? And, a good program should not be seen as something that is one more thing to add to your list. It should actually save you time because it should be helping direct your energy and your focus towards the things that are most important. But having that understanding of what does the format of this really look like? And I think also that the types of people that the program serves is very important, because as we all know, there is a lot of very generic advice in the real estate industry. And so when you rise above the level of the generic advice that anybody can get, trying to figure out, okay, well, what does this feel aligned for me? Does this messaging, does this, like I said at the beginning, the outcome, like, is this where I want to go? Are these the people I want to be around? Is when I look at the end of the day, is this result the person that I want to be? Because that's really what this is all about, right? Is we've all heard that your personal development will never, or your business development will never outpace your personal development. And so considering, who am I going to become through this process? How am I going to change myself? Because that's really what it boils down to, is we have to change ourselves to get different outcomes in our business.
Oh, those are good. I heard someone say the other day that one of the ways that they vet potential coaches is they follow them around online. So they like spend, quote unquote, spend time with them before they spend time with them. That's through Instagram or email lists or their website or videos they're watching, like really getting a sense for style. Would I want to spend time with this person? You could have all the right answers, but if this person grates on me like nobody's business, that's probably not the right coaching choice. So Kelly, one of the things that I think is very confusing for folks, coaching has gotten a lot more complex, I'd say, in the last 10 years. It used to be, it's like, I hired my one person showed up with me, we had our accountability meetings, we met every week. I think that's the traditional way people think of coaching. These days, there's all kinds of ways that you can get quote unquote coaching. You can get coaching through one-on-one. Certainly that's an option. You could get coaching through a group with a facilitator or a coach that leads that. You could get coaching through an online course. Candy has a ton of these. Like there are a lot of ways for me to grow and learn as a real estate professional. So if I'm trying to figure that out, can you just take us through those options and how I might think about which one is right for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question because I think there's a lot of confusion now. To your point, there was this sort of a set way, but as this has expanded, as more coaches have gotten involved, there's just all sorts of different types of containers. And so you can do self-study online programs. I know a couple of the women all offer that here. That's at your pace with a sort of determined, transformation that you'll get on the other side. Of course, that comes with your own ability to be accountable to yourself and that investment that you made. Small group coaching and then larger group coaching, there's cohorts, like I have cohorts that are smaller, less than 20 women. So we have a really intimate community of people who are there with a sort of a shared, values and goals and desired outcome. And then you can have larger group programs where you've got 200 plus, where it's maybe not as personalized or as intimate, but you're still getting live resources, live coaching on things that are happening as they're evolving. And then there's one-to-one, which I love one-to-one. It's my sweet spot because a lot of my coaching is very personalized. And I think to have those types of relationships with the coach, if you're that type of person who really feels like you want someone to really know the ins and outs of you and your business and your goals, I think one-on-one can be great. Of course, those all come with different price points. The closer proximity you are to your coach and the more access you get, the more expensive it will be. So I think you really have to look at what is your preferred learning style, what is your capacity, what are your goals and desired outcome. And I think with these three different or multiple different types of containers, you can pick based on, lifestyle and budget. Mm-hmm. If I could add, though, one thing I want to add about like things to look for or ask when considering different programs, I think it's also really important, whether it's group coaching or private, that there's a personal or a proven process that coach has to sort of fit your needs and be really clear on what is the outcome of this coaching that not only I am seeking, but that they are offering. Because this isn't guesswork. Your coaching experience should not be guesswork. It shouldn't just be calls that are fluid and flow. While that's wonderful, coaches and their programs should have a framework. They should have an outcome that you will get on the other side of that methodology or that process that they have. And so I do encourage people to really inquire, what is that? And how will I know the results that I will get with that experience?
Awesome. That's great. Perfect. Okay. So I am on my journey. I have taken the first couple steps. I've vetted everybody. I've, decided how I'm going to make that decision. And I'm like, yep, this is it. I'm committing. I'm going for it. I'm finally going to make that choice. Candy, you've coached hundreds of agents, maybe more. What are the top 3 things someone can do to ensure they get the outcome they're looking for in that coaching relationship? So I've decided you're my lady. This is it. We're doing it together. What advice do you have for somebody before they step into that relationship with you?
Be honest with yourself. And that means, am I going to do the work? Because I can help you see what you need to be doing, but if you're not going to do the work, if you're not going to commit to the time that's involved or the activities or make excuses, because I hate excuses, I can't help you as a coach, right? So I need you to be honest with yourself. I also need you to understand that coaching can be messy. And we think it's pretty and, just linear and it's going to be great. But life gets in the way, right? Life happens. And so a good coach will coach you through life, because if your life isn't right, your real estate's not going to be right. And so you have to be able to be vulnerable and be transparent and not say X, Y, and Z happened. No. Again, it all goes back to honesty, transparency, and willingness to do the work, because success doesn't magically happen. And I like to say you can't put in part-time work and expect full-time results. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to do this, let's do this. Because if you don't do the work, I'm going to call you on that. So it's all up to you. It's not your coach. Your coach can lead you to the water, but it can't make you drink.
Those are excellent. as you enter into a relationship where you are paying money, you are certainly a coach is responsible for delivering those services, but you are both in that relationship together to your note. And if you just think you're going to sit back and kick your feet up and Candy's going to take you on the ride and it's all going to be, you are in for a rude awakening. So I really like that. Like, you have to have 100% responsibility as a client in the same way the coach takes 100% responsibility.
And it's difficult, Danielle, for a coach to coach somebody who isn't willing to do the work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's week after week when you meet with them, you get exasperated because we want everybody we coach to be successful, but we can't do it for you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, you have to decide for yourself, and that's all there is to it. Yeah. I have the same question for everybody. So I'm going to go to Elizabeth next. Elizabeth, what about you? What do you think that are the top 3 things someone can do to ensure they're showing up to get the outcomes they're looking for with their coaching?
Yeah, I think the first is an open and curious mind. You're going to learn new things, and some of it might feel completely new and a little contrary to what you thought you needed to do. So that requires you to really open yourself up and expand. The second is be willing to get a little uncomfortable. The growth happens when you step out of your comfort zone, and a good coach will take you out of that comfort zone in small steps, right? So that it's not overwhelming and retreating backward. And I think the last is committing to yourself, committing to the growth that you've signed up for. And that's, to Candy's point, means doing the work, even when it is a little uncomfortable.
Yep. Those are good. Those are good. Kelly?
Oh my gosh, I'm just going to echo a lot of this. I think, growth is uncomfortable, growth is stretchy, and part of the work though is in that uncomfortable and being able to push through it and navigate that edge. And I think we're all where we are in our careers because we did that work. And the beautiful thing though about coaching is that you have someone you get to do it with. Like Candy was just saying, these are co-created experiences, these are co-created outcomes. We can offer the tools and the skills and, the insight into the beliefs or the behaviors that are holding you back, but you show up with the other side of that equation. And to sort of just echo what Elizabeth said, that commitment, that curiosity to continue to just navigate those growth edges and the work that comes with it. And so I think that the people that I have seen the most success and the most, sort of like productive time together, new entering it. They didn't totally know what to expect, but they were so committed to their goals and their dreams. And they knew that if they got themselves there and to that point, they could get themselves to where they wanted to go. And with, just sort of the right support and then the right mindset, you navigate that. And so I think that it's I just want to echo what all the two of them said, because I think that this isn't rocket science. This isn't a wild equation for how to get there. I think we just have to be willing to do some of the things and look at some of the pieces that have held us back.
Lacey, how about you?
The thing that came up for me right off the bat was really understanding your own motivation for showing up and becoming a part of a program and getting coaching, and really not just having a surface level why of, I want to grow my business, but really getting in touch with the root cause of what is growing your business really mean for you? If you say, I want to earn $1 million, well, it's not just about earning $1 million. It's really about what your life would be like, how generous you'd be able to be, how safe you'd feel, all the different ways that your life would change if you earned $1 million. And it's the same way. It's like, what is driving you to do this, and getting really deep in touch with what that purpose is and what you really want to do with it. And then one of the mistakes that I see people make when I see people get hung up in this is fixating on an ROI. In a discovery call with someone once, I had somebody say, and it was her husband. She was like, my husband wants to know what's the ROI, but I need to understand. I need to tell him what's the ROI. What exactly is the ROI? And I was like, okay. Like, the cool thing about coaching is the ROI is 1000% in your control. Yes. The bad news about it is I can't control it at all. It's totally up to you. And so again, like, what you have to be committed to doing the work. And I think that you have to be patient, because we sometimes feel like, okay, we swiped our credit card, we invested in something, and now miraculously, like Cinderella, we're going to have a fancy new dress. But that's not how it works. It's, as they all said, it's a sticky process, and the breakthrough will come, but you have to be patient and you can't give up.
That ROI statement, that's a good one. You know, we're
Danielle,
all
can I add
trained.
something here?
Yeah, yeah.
So to Lacey's point, you're being clear on your why. I coached a woman who contacted me in February. She was a teacher and she was selling real estate part-time. And her goal was not to sign another contract in August to teach another year. And it was, I mean, so she had a clear, defined timeline as I have to make this happen. And you know what? She made it happen, or we made it happen. And it was just so good to work with somebody who was that motivated and that clear on what they wanted, that she's like, I don't want to sign this contract. I don't want to do it.
That statement actually is interesting because it gets to the root of the need to have versus nice to have. I think that taking us back to the beginning of the conversation, what drives you to coaching? If you are interested in coaching because you think everybody else has a coach, this is not going to go well for you. You have to come to coaching because there is a moment, there is something in your life that is not working the way you want it to work. And you are looking to transform from that situation to a new one. But this is not just like, well, everyone has a coach, I should have one. I just think that's going to be a recipe for zero ROI.
Well, and I think too, like on that note, Danielle, this is also what's really important is that you're very clear on your definition of success.
Yes.
Because if you are entering coaching because you think that that you need to sell $1 million to or $100 million or whatever to be legitimate or to be credible or to be considered successful, and so I'll do whatever it takes, but that definition of success is misaligned with what truly is we were said this, like, what is your why? What is your ultimate goal? What is the driver behind why you're in this business and what you're trying to accomplish? And I think being really clear on what your true definition of success is, and then making sure you're aligning with a coach who also holds something similarly or can help you with that outcome is really important to getting the results you're looking for. Because if you're entering the container with a definition of success that's not actually yours, then it's going to start to cloud a lot of your ability to actually show up for yourself and to do the work that we're speaking of here. And so I just wanted to kind of add that to what we're saying here.
Any last parting thoughts from any of you as someone goes down this path and things that you want to make sure they take away so they can make good choices around this investment this year for themselves? Elizabeth, I'll start with you.
I think it's really important to manage your fear around investing money in yourself. This is something that I personally went through. I still go through it from time to time. If the investment is just a little more than I might want to spend, and I'm somebody who's gone through coaching for 10 plus years, right? I know the costs around it, but that fear should give an indication to you that there's something bigger waiting for you. And if you can switch the idea of fear to excitement, it will help you, or at least in my experience, it helps to overcome that hurdle of, like Lacey said, putting that credit card down, making that investment in yourself, because you're truly betting on you. And as a woman in business, when I worked for others, I didn't really have to bet on myself. I had a safety net, right? I had the safety net of the manager, of the larger company, of the team's goals. But becoming an entrepreneur and really owning your own path requires that you invest in yourself to take yourself to that next level, and that overcoming that fear and kind of turning it around to an excitement will help to overcome that hurdle. But I want to share that that's really normal. I think these ladies will probably agree. It is very normal to be nervous about dropping money that perhaps you haven't even earned yet.
Well, can I dovetail on that? Because I think people are investing in coaching because they want a different outcome. They want a different reality. They're working towards something, which requires you to do something that's not a match for your current reality, but rather the one that you are creating. And so these are investments in your future self. This is an action. I do believe the investment is meant to be stretchy intentionally because it is an action that is a match for what you're creating. If you want more of the same, then just keep doing what's comfortable in the same. There's a reason why these are investments, a reason why they're a little bit of a stretch. And so I just wanted to sort of offer that on the tail of what you were saying, because it's normal. It's normal for it to feel like a little bit uncomfortable. And that's part of the transformation.
And I know I'm going to piggyback on what Kelly and Elizabeth said. I remember when I got my first coach. I got my first coach because I had exhausted all of the free information I could get, right? And so I went to every website, I talked to everybody. But you know what those free ones do? Every blog post, they tell you what, but they never tell you how.
Yeah.
They never tell you how. And so if you're tired of that cycle of looking for free, invest in yourself. That's how you get the how, and the how for you. Not the how for the masses, but the how for you.
So good. Lacey,
Absolutely.
You want to round us out?
Absolutely. Yeah. What Candy just said, I mean, what all of you just said, it's so true. I mean, I made 2 huge investments in my business before, right around the end of the year. And every time I'm scared to death, every single time. But to Elizabeth's point, it's excitement. It's good pressure. It is, okay, I am putting my money in on me, and it is up to me to make something of this. And if you're in that right headspace and you know your why and you know what you're doing it for and you're committed to doing it, then it can be beyond your wildest dreams worth it. But I just loved what Candy said too. It is all about, information is free. It is. It's free. Go to ChatGPT. If you're looking for tips on how to sell real estate, tips on how to, go to ChatGPT, you can get it for free. But it's about, how do you organize it? How do you apply it? How do you know what to focus on? And getting really, really clear so that every day you get up and you know what to do, rather than waking up every day and being reactive and waiting for the phone to ring and then going and serving the client when the phone rings and then looking around and being like, now what? And I just, speaking for myself, I lived that reality for a very long time. well versed in doing it that way.
I love that. I love that you all touched on AI, because I do think that's something that lingers in the back of everyone's minds as that starts to grow and become a bigger part of our lives. And there's been a lot of discussion around what's the impact that will have on coaching. But I think you all articulate it quite well, which is that, if you just want the checklist or the doing, that can be very helpful. And maybe you're in a moment in your career where that's all you need. Bravo. Like, go get it. That's amazing that we have those resources available to us. But when you start getting into things that are bigger than that, at the helm, we talk a lot about the being versus the doing. When you're ready to get past the doing, sometimes that's where a coach can really step in, because it's how you are showing up in that work that oftentimes can be the biggest challenge. And that's where I think a coach, and only that connection with others, not a robot, is going to help you sort of figure that out. So it's an exciting time in coaching because there's so much information available, and it's also incredibly overwhelming because there's so much information available and there are so many people. So I know that all of you, thanks for coming today. I know all of you have been very committed to making sure that we are helping women make great choices around their coaching investments. It's not insignificant. And there's not a lot of information out there about the right way to do it. So it's wonderful you would donate your time and energy to help these women make those choices. I will say that as a thank you for joining us today, we have a little surprise for you. So we've put together a really nice reference guide for how do you walk through this journey on finding a coach, which we're going to send out to everybody after this call. So you've got that in your back pocket as you're making these decisions. I also know that any of the women on these calls would be more than happy to chat with you if you just had questions or wanted to connect. And you can find all of them on the helm. You can also find them on their own websites. So I did have a question. Actually, I do have one from Laura. What training have these coaches had, or do they have any specific certifications? I'd love to talk about this for a minute. I think that there is this idea that when you first get into coaching, especially women, I have to go out and I have to get all the certifications because I'm unsure. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to show up. I have to be perfect. So I actually see a lot of women spend a lot of money and a lot of time getting certified and not actually coaching anybody. not actually doing the thing that they want to do because there's so much fear around that. So I'd love to maybe just ask, since we do have just a little extra time, feel free, anyone raise your hand who you'd like to test this, but how did you get into a point where you were developing content and your own coaching? Did you do certification? Have you done training? What's worked for you?
I can start because mine was, I was at a brokerage and they used to have what they called new agent training every Monday. And I would attend that every single Monday. Like it was my job, right? Nothing came in the way of that. And I literally attended the new agent training for 5 straight years.
Wow.
And then after 5 years, my manager said, well, Candy, I have to do other things. Can you teach this class? And I was like, of course I can't teach this class. This is impossible, right? And I started teaching the class. And I had to develop content, every single Monday for this class. And so that's how I got, and I taught the class for 20, not 20 years, 15 years. Mm-hmm. For 15 years, I taught the class. And so after teaching it for like 12, I was like, there are more people who probably need this information. And that's how I became a coach, is that I just felt a stronger need to help agents around the country, because my personal goal was to have every consumer have an excellent real estate experience. Yes, and you cannot have an excellent experience if you don't have trained agents. And so I wanted to train up the agents so the consumer would have that kind of experience. So that's how
your
I
certification. Yeah, your certification was, I just did it for a long time.
Yeah. For a very long time.
Yeah.
I think certifications can make people feel really safe and comfortable, but there's no replacement for doing either. So anybody else, any other comments that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to add to that. I think it's such an important question in general. I will say, to sort of echo on what we're talking about, I mean, my certification is, I've built a business over 15 years that has continued to grow every single year in every different market conditions. And an urban city, and also a team of 10 who were all individually top producers because of the coaching and the mentorship and the trainings that I've given them. So it's not just my success now, it's the success of others that is proven. Now, when I got into coaching, I didn't see myself as a coach. I didn't understand that that's what I was doing. My journey into coaching came because there was a real fork in the road moment of my career where I realized, long story short, I was very burned out. And as I reflected on this process, I realized there was a period of my career where I was super aligned in how I was growing and leading my business, and a point where I got off course. And my journey to getting back off course, I realized there's real tools here, and there are real frameworks, and there's real methodologies that are tied to the results that I have created for myself and for others. And so seeing it living, breathing out in the world is, in my opinion, a very valid certification. Of course, we know at the helm, we're doing conscious leadership and other things to sort of bolster our tools and what we're bringing to our clients. But I also think part of this question is like, what trainings do these coaches have? I think all of us can speak individually to that. All of us offer very different things and also semi-similar things. So I encourage everyone, if there's questions on that, we can go to everybody's individual pages and find out. But I think it's just an important question and worth asking, because especially in today's day and age, the online space, we're seeing a lot of social influencers turning into coaches and not maybe having the years of experience and, in my mind, the credibility to be speaking in a broader sense or to certain types of coaching. And so I think that's why it's a really great question to ask every coach that you're considering, so that you have the proper information to make an informed decision.
Kelly referenced something that all the women on this call have been involved with. At the helm, we see this as an important opportunity. We know that qualification matters in a sea of so many choices. Like, how do you decide? And certifications can be a way that make people feel more comfortable. I also think that you have to think beyond the certification. Like, that is a piece of paper. Someone could literally have 10 certifications and have very little experience. And so I think you need to make sure that you are looking at both as you're making a decision for a coach. And this is part of the questions you ask them, and you decide what's important to you. What is your signifier of quality? And then look for that in the coach that you are seeking. We'll follow up with everybody today with our guide to help you through this process. You can reach out to anyone on this call. You're always going to get an answer, because this is a group of women for women. And ultimately, they are most excited about making sure that you are making great choices for yourself, whether that's with them or anyone else because ultimately when women succeed, we all succeed in this industry. And we're thrilled to be behind all of you in that. So thanks, everyone. Thanks to our panelists for showing up today, our Helm Founding coaches, and we'll see more later.